Hey guys, in this video I'm going to go over questions 1 through 6. We started going over them in class, but some of us were still a little confused. So going back on the first 4, finding the GCF, the greatest common factor, also known as the greatest common divisor in your calculator. We can do this by going to menu 2, 5, and you can only type the numbers. So here, my GCD or GCF of 8 and 12, so in my calculator, it's going to be the GCD of 8 and negative 12. So I'm going to do menu 2, 5, 8, comma, negative 12. Enter. It gives me my answer of 4. So I have 4. And then between my variables, I see they both have an x. And then I want the one with the smallest power. So it's going to be x squared. That is my GCF or GCD, my greatest common factor. Because I'm factoring out that GCF, I need to figure out what goes left over. And the way we do that is by dividing. I'm going to divide each of these terms by my 4x squared. Okay, 8, we'll do coefficients first. 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. And then x to the 4th divided by x squared. The rule is to subtract the exponents. So 4 minus 2 gives me an exponent of 2. Negative 12 divided by 4 is a negative 3. And then x squared divided by x squared, the rule says to subtract. 2 minus 2 is 0. So those cancel out altogether, and this would be my final answer. Okay, you can always go back and double check. I either multiply 4x squared times 2x squared. 4 times 2 is 8. X squared times x squared, we add those together. 2 plus 2 gives me my exponent of 4. 4x squared times negative 3. 4 times that negative 3 is negative 12, and my x squared stays. Okay, moving on to question 2. Same thing, my GCD. If I use my calculator, it's going to be the GCD of negative 12 and 20. So you could type that in. Menu 2, 5. I have negative 12 and 20 comes out to 4. So we get 4 again. Then I look for my variables. The first term has the A. The second term does not have anything, so I cannot use A. Then I look at the B's. They both have the B variable. The first term has b cubed, the second one is just the b, so that's the one we're going to go with because it's smaller. Then, got to find those leftovers, and we do that by dividing, okay? So everything inside is going to be what we get after we divide. Negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. The a will stay. B cubed divided by b, remember we can say there's an exponent of 1, so when we subtract the 3 and the 1, we get an exponent of 2. 20b divided by 4b. 20 divided by 4 gives me 5, and the b's cancel out. Looking here at number 3, when you have 3 terms, that's a little bit more tedious. We got to do the GCD of the first 2 terms, the first 2 coefficients. So we have 27 and negative 72. So menu 2, 5, 27, comma, negative 72, I get 9. Now I'm going to take that answer, so this answer, and then my last number, which is also 9. Okay, and here, this should come out to 9, but we'll go ahead and check. Menu 2, 5, I have 9, comma, 9, enter, and it is. Okay. Then I look, do they all have the same variable, which they do, and we always go with the smallest, and this case is k. Now we're going to get our leftovers. So everything's going to get divided by a 9k. 27 divided by 9 is 3. Remember, we subtract those exponents. We can give this one a 1. 5 minus 1 is 4, so it's going to be k to the 4th power. Negative 72 divided by 9 is a negative 8. Give this an exponent of 1, and the 3 minus 1 is 2, so I get k squared. And then 9k divided by 9k, they cancel out. I can't leave this empty spot, so I'm going to put a 1 to hold it. That way, if we multiply everything back, we get the same thing. All right, and now the last one. Okay, same thing. We have 3 terms, so we're going to have to do the GCF of 2 terms at a time. So in the calculator, it's the GCD. I go with 6 and 15 because those are my first 2 numbers. Manu25, 6, 15 gives me a 3. And then the GCD of 3 and 3, guess what? It's 3. All right, and now I look at my variables. They all have the x, so I'm going to take the one with the smallest power, which is that x squared. And now to figure out those leftovers, I got to divide everything by 3x squared. 6x to the 4th divided by 3x squared gives me 2x squared. Remember, subtract the exponents. Okay, 15x cubed divided by 3x squared. 15 divided by 3 is 5, x squared. And then the 3 minus 2 is just 1. And then 3x squared divided by 3x squared is 1. All right, so those are the GCDs. You are definitely going to have one like questions 3 or 4 in your test. It's open-ended, so you're just going to have to make sure you're very clear in your answers there. All right. Now we're moving on to number 5. So number 5, you're going to have about 3 or 4 of these on your test, and it's saying which of the following is a factor of x squared plus 13x plus 12. So with this one, when we factor this into our 2 binomials, we have those 2 answers. But this one is saying, I just want to know which is one of them. So we're going to still do it the same way. So when we use our x method, remember, we have our a, b, and c values. Here, my a value is 1, my b is 13, and my c is 12. At the top is my b value, which is 13, and at the bottom it's going to be my a times c. So 1 times 12 is 12. On the sides, I want to find 2 numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 13. And that comes out to 12 and 1. Always go back and divide by the a value. 12 divided by 1 is still 12. So that means in one answer I have an x plus 12 because my 12 is positive. 1 divided by 1 is still 1. So in my other parenthesis I have an x plus 1. Okay, so now going back to the question, it's saying which of the following is a factor. And I look, I don't see any x plus 12s, but I do see an x plus 1. So that is my answer because it matched that second binomial that I have. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do number 6, and then we'll call this video quits. So on number 6, okay, same question, which of the following is a factor of that x squared minus 13x plus 36? I'm still going to do my x method, so I know my a value is 1, b is negative 13, and my c value is 36. Okay? At the top is my b value, so I have a negative 13. At the bottom is my c value, which is 36. Now, I need 2 numbers that multiply and give me a positive 36, but add to a negative 13. Okay, so I have 1 and 36 will not work. 2 and 18, nope. 3 and 12, close but not quite. 4 and 9. And those are the ones that we want because 4 plus 9 is 13. I need a negative 13 and a positive 36. So that means I'm looking at a negative 4 and a negative 9. I go back and divide by my a value of 1. Negative 4 divided by 1 is still a negative 4. So in one binomial, I have an x minus 4. Negative 9 divided by 1 is still a negative 9. So in my second binomial, I have an x minus 9. Now I look at my answer choices. I'm looking for a negative 4, a minus 4. No, there's a plus, but they're not the same, so I don't want it. And then I have an x minus 9, and that is my answer choice C. Okay, that's the one that matches. All right, so you're gonna have a few like that. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me before the test.